Boa tarde, bem-vindos a mais uma das entrevistas com os realizadores da competição internacional do nosso programa Transmission. Hoje estamos com Tedra Wilson, Titi the Artist, realizadora do filme Dark City Beneath the Beat. Hi Titi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Thank you for being with us here in these chats with the directors of competition of our transmission program. That's where we can find your film Dark City Beneath the Beat. My first question is about the theme itself of the film. We know in Europe, mostly we know Baltimore because of the universe of The Wire. Drugs, violence, corruption, and if also these themes are present in your film, the focus is the Baltimore club music. And can you present to us in Europe what is the Baltimore club music?
So Baltimore club music is the homegrown sound bred out of the streets of Baltimore. So it's a local sound in a community that basically was developed in Baltimore. As far as the sound itself, it's a form of hip hop and mixed with house music influence. And so, you know, very early on in the development of Baltimore club music, it was known as a very sampled style of music. So it was very rare for artists who produce club music to be able to make money or take the music beyond the city because of the highly uses of samples. And then later on, like in the, you know, I would say the 90s, we started to see more original songs come out that were in the genre. So, you know, you start to see more breakout artists and the music started to travel beyond Baltimore. So it's raw, it's energetic, it's fast paced. It's just something that I had been inspired by when I came to Baltimore City. And so the music is also just a really big part of the community in Baltimore.
Okay, it's in the beginning of the film. Is this sentence they put there? There is 1,000 ways to tell this story.
Yes,
it's in your case. You talk about that in our first question because you are not originally from Baltimore, and then right now you are not in Baltimore too because you are living in LA, I suppose. And so this distance you have from Baltimore could be important on the way you choose to tell this story.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like not being from Baltimore and coming there. At first, it felt like I was more an outsider. And once I lived there, I lived in Baltimore for like 10 years. So once I lived there, I became a part of the community, and I felt that they welcomed me to tell their story. Because a lot of times, what you don't want is to come and act as if you're being exploitive. You want to have like approach with integrity, and so because I started doing club music, that connected me with more people in the community that were doing club music and pushing the culture forward. And so I was like welcomed, you know, as the club queen, you know, and I feel that there are 1,000 ways to tell the story. Like some people would tell the story from a more historical place or evolution of club music. And I didn't feel that that was my story to tell. I felt my story was to show what were the things that inspired me in Baltimore, you know, like the music, the poetry, the artists, the community, you know, and also to show people like the different side of Baltimore that we haven't seen, you know, like the museums and the markets and the harbor. So that's kind of like was one of the goals really with my approach to, you know, the film itself.
Okay. And another interesting point for me is that, I saw that in an interview you defined Dark City as a musical documentary. I think exactly the same because, and that's one of the reasons that why Dark City moved me so much, because I love musicals, and I love music documentaries. And this is one of the few musical documentaries that I saw that reunites these two genres. You have this in mind in the origin of the project, or it comes to you during the process? This
It definitely came during the process.
Okay.
When I first started, I came up with the idea in 2006 when I was a college student, and I was like, I want to make a film about this, but I had no idea about how to make films or anything like that. So, years passed, and then I was able to like kind of do some like smaller proof of concepts around 2011. And the buzz started to get out there, and people were interested. So then I did a Kickstarter, but then everything that could go wrong went wrong. We lost hard drives, our gear got stolen. I didn't think that we would ever get to see a film. So in 2016, I started applying for grants. And so I got my first grant in 2017. And that's when I was like, wait a minute, I've been doing this all wrong. I don't want to make another documentary with talking heads or, show what we've already seen, which is people out in the streets of Baltimore. I wanted to create a piece of art, and I wanted to create a montage of moments that would trigger emotion or inspiration. And so that's when I started to think about it as a musical documentary, because I'm like, the music is what inspired me. So I was like, first we did the soundtrack. We developed the soundtrack first, and then we built a lot of the scenes around that. And that's and then I also wanted to like play with the concept of traditional documentary with the interviews and showing some of the more like real, stories. So that's kind of like how I came up with this like hybrid approach. And I didn't really know, it was very experimental. I didn't know exactly how it was going to come out. But I feel like I did discover something in that process, and how the music is such a quintessential part of my work and helps with the way I develop my ideas. So I feel like it was definitely something that I was touching on that I look forward to exploring and expanding on, in my new projects.
Yes, one of the things we felt is the energy. And I think one of the most remarkable aspects is the editing. It was done by you too, no?
Yes.
The editing of the movie. I felt in the editing in the movie that you are, for me, it's like you are mixing in like a DJ. You are DJing with the images.
That's exactly, yes.
We felt the ups and downs and all the energy, like we are in a party. I think it's the best party we can have right now with this pandemic situation, is go to the cinema and see your film. That's my sensation. I think you agree on that, no? The editing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those films where even if you don't understand what's going on, you can at least feel the music. And that's why it's called Dark City Beneath the Beat. It's about the pulse. The city has a dark reputation, but the music is vibrant. The music keeps the city alive. And so that's where I came up with Dark City Beneath the Beat. There's so much more beneath the darkness, translated through the music.
Okay, and you are one of the characters of the film, so we get to know something about you on film. But for sure, on your background and on your future projects, there are other things that you can tell us right now.
So we are developing a dance series of King of Baltimore, the dance competition. We'd like to take that to the web world. So we're working on an actual series. We're developing it right now. I'm also now getting into more narrative and script writing. So I'm in a director's lab currently where I'm developing that, called Powder Keg. And so I just wrote my first short film script. So I'm moving into that direction now, and I'm very excited about it. Also, more music. We're dropping a new album this month off my label, Club Queen Records. So I'm very excited about that. So that people can look out for that too. And we're going to be dropping the album from the movie's soundtrack next year.
Okay. Well, one last question that I'm doing to all the directors. We are doing this interview by Zoom because you cannot be here with us
Yes.
because of all of this pandemic situation. Do you think that after all this, people will return and increase the presence on movie theaters, or with all this connection now with the digital platforms, VOD, and this other way to see movies, this will be the final blow for cinema as we leave it before?
I mean, I think we're having a moment currently where we have to adjust and adapt. But I do think, things will go back to some form of normalcy at some point. But for now, I think streaming sites are definitely going to be the go-to for these types, our content right now. Like, people are developing different ways to stream. But I think right now that's where it's basically at. And so, yeah, I just think at some point we will go back to normalcy, but it's almost like we're just forced to adapt with the current situation right now. And it is so much going on. So it's like, and on one hand, it's kind of good because it did open the audience up more. Like people who may not have been able to travel to see these festivals are able to get online and partake in it. I feel like that has brought a lot of new support towards our film and a lot of new audiences.
Okay, my last question. We are recording this the 7th of November. 1 hour ago was announced finally that you have a new president in US.
Finally.
Are you happy?
I'm happy. I'm so happy because, I think that there would be lots of rioting right now if Trump won because people are very just angry. Like, we want, it's just like, I'm the type of person, I really don't judge people, but I just feel like when you get in a position of power and you like use that power and abuse it in a certain way, like by not showing respect to your country in terms of the people and our diversity, it's like, it's kind of like you can't be a representative for all people in the country. You know what I mean? It's like, that's my thing. And I believe overall our system needs a uplift, because of the simple fact that we have older white men still, having control of the country. We need to open it up more for, women, for younger people who have experience. I just think, this is the last phase of that, and we're changing over here and things are evolving. And so people have to get with it, it's time for a change.
Okay,
PT for president.
Absolutely.
My campaign is it's time for a change.
Absolutely. And I must recommend again everybody to go to see your movie on the theater because we are going to project it on screen, big screen. And
oh my gosh, I wish I could come and see this.
Well, I think it will be impossible.
But I know if it wasn't a pandemic, I would be on a tour right now all around the world because the film's been doing really well overseas, in America, but next year maybe I'll be invited back to do panels and things like that.
Yeah, I was informed some minutes ago that you won a prize in Barcelona.
I did?
So, yeah, maybe it's a premiere to you. But some friends from Barcelona tell me that you won a prize there, so you will be informed in
oh, that's exciting.
Sure. So Titi, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hope to see you with another film, maybe in another year.
They're coming.
Portugal. Okay,
they're definitely coming.
And do some DJing and live act too, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye.
Peace.